We still do not have a quorum, but I got the okay from the ranking member to move ahead with our opening statements. So I say good morning to all my colleagues and all the people that are in the audience and our hardworking staff. We have on the agenda 6 nominations. 5 are listed for the first time and will be held over. Our only vote today will be on David Waterman to be U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of Iowa. Senator Ernst and I have recommended Mr. Waterman for this position. Senator Ernst and I have recommended Mr. Waterman for this position for 2 Congresses in a row, and he was previously voted out of this committee with an overwhelming bipartisan vote. I'm pleased that we're voting on him today and urge all of my colleagues to support him. We also have S 1829, goes by the name of Stop CSAM Act, listed on the agenda for the first time. That bill increases protections for kids online and will be held over until the next week. I want to take a moment to address recently raised concerns about the Justice Department grant terminations. I've started looking into some of these redirected funds, and I'm releasing a short report today compiling publicly available information on just 2 of the grant recipients, and there's many, many more, and we're going to continue to focus on more. But I just want to use one example for today's hearing called the VERA, Institute of Justice. VERA is a George Soros-backed organization. It's received at least $10 million in donations from George Soros. Everyone here knows that Soros's plan to elect progressive prosecutors to district attorney positions. Folks may be less familiar with Vera's role in that plan, although they've made no secret about how they try to help Soros's goals. Many of them gave Vera space in their office and nearly unfettered access to their case files. They allowed Vera to redesign their prosecutor's office around Soros's progressive vision. Guided by Vera, these prosecutors failed their communities. The sad stories of their failures played out in the courtroom, where rape victims and families who lost loved ones to violence never saw an ounce of justice. Vera policies aren't criminal justice reform. A revolving door of no consequences doesn't make anyone safer or rehabilitated. We need to continue looking at these grants. The Justice Department should reinstate worthy grants, and several have been reinstated. But awards to grantees like Vera for broken progressive policies should give us all great pause. The American people voted these policies out of office. I also want to take a moment to discuss some of my other recent oversight work. People on this committee know that I try to listen to legitimate whistleblowers, and most of them are very legitimate. So, thanks to whistleblowers, I made public last week an FBI document that showed Nellie Orr, whose firm was paid for by the Democratic National Committee, that Ms. Orr lied to Congress. She lied about her role in creating the Steele dossier and pushing the Russian hoax. She got away scot-free while Trump and his associates were politically targeted for years. That document also exposed the FBI's use of access restrictions on some of Mueller's Crossfire hurricane material. Incredibly, those access restrictions prevented the FBI agents from assessing FBI records. And if that happened, it means congressional oversight requests and court cases were subject to the same obstructive conduct. New FBI leadership ought to immediately perform a comprehensive review of these access restrictions. My oversight has just begun on this matter. Now, you'll remember the famous FBI Richmond memo. That memo used the shoddy research of the radical Southern Poverty Law Center to accuse traditional Catholics of being violent extremists. Now, that in and of itself is an outrage. Well, the FBI recently produced Biden-era documents, which I released Tuesday this week, showing the problem was much worse than Director Wray led us to believe. There wasn't just one FBI document, the famous one that supposedly only Richmond, Virginia had. So there wasn't just one FBI document that used biased anti-Catholic sources, but over a dozen. The anti-Catholic memo was distributed far more broadly than the FBI, through Director Wray, told the Congress. And more FBI field officers were involved than we had been led to believe. Based on those FBI records, it appears that Director Wray lied to the Congress when he testified before this committee. My oversight on these matters will continue. Now to Senator Durbin, our ranking member.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, under the Trump administration, the Department of Justice is systematically removing the structure charged with fighting corruption in our government. As the Trump administration openly descends into the throes of corruption, the watchdog is off the leash and out of sight. In one of her first official acts, Attorney General Bondi disbanded the FBI's Foreign Influence Task Force and restricted enforcement of the Foreign Agent Registration Act, despite the growing threat of foreign influence campaigns by hostile nations. Unfortunately, this was no surprise, since the Attorney General herself was formerly a paid foreign agent of the government of Qatar. As a former head of FBI counterintelligence put it, this has created a free-for-all for foreign intelligence services seeking influence on our government. In another shocking move, President Trump ordered a halt to the enforcement of the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act. This landmark law had prohibited companies from bribing foreign officials. The Trump administration has also gutted the Department of Justice's Public Integrity Section, known as PIN, which oversees political corruption cases and election crimes. The office had approximately 30 career prosecutors. It now has fewer than 5. And Attorney General Bondi has reportedly considered removing the longstanding requirement that investigations of public officials be reviewed by PIN. This oversight by career prosecutors was essential to assure that these investigations are not politically motivated. Last month, MAGA loyalist and interim U.S. Attorney for New Jersey, Alina Habba, brought criminal charges against the sitting congresswoman. These dubious charges reportedly were not reviewed by the Public Integrity Section. Ms. Habba has made her political goals as a prosecutor as clear as can be. She said when the day she was appointed, "Now we can turn New Jersey red." And of course, DOJ official Amo Bove infamously ordered the dismissal of corruption charges against the mayor of New York, Eric Adams, in exchange for his promise to cooperate with the president. Mr. Bove has now been rewarded with a nomination for a lifetime seat on the federal bench. After endless, baseless accusations that the Biden administration weaponized DOJ, it is the Trump administration that is making it easier to target its enemies, stifle dissent, and seek retribution. The Trump administration also removed the senior career ethics officials at DOJ who advised on conflicts of interest and their other ethical issues, put the duties in the hands of two inexperienced political appointees who are personally beholden to the Attorney General. And the career director and chief counsel of DOJ's Office of Professional Responsibility was forced to retire. This office is charged with conducting internal investigations into misconduct by DOJ attorneys, but the lights are literally off in their office. In the absence of these internal guardrails, it's not surprising that we're witnessing some outrageous conduct. Attorney General Bondi refused to recuse herself from President Trump's solicitation of a free jet from the royal family of Qatar, despite the fact that Attorney General Bondi was formerly a registered foreign agent for that government. Even though this unprecedented gift clearly violates the Constitution and the laws we passed in Congress, the Attorney General produced a legal memorandum concluding it was, quote, legally permissible for President Trump to accept it. We are still, after weeks of asking for it, looking for a copy of that infamous memo. Attorney General Bondi also appears to be reaping financial rewards for her loyalty to the president. She's been deeply financially entangled with President Trump for years. Most notably, the Attorney General of the United States has earned at least $3 million on the merger that formed Trump Media and has held millions of dollars in Trump Media stock. She sold that stock under suspicious circumstances on a historic day, April 2nd, 2025. That was the same day President Trump announced his harebrained tariff scheme that crashed the stock market and destroyed $10 trillion in wealth in 3 days. Attorney General Bondi got out of the market just in time. The share price of Trump Media plummeted 15%, yet Bondi appears to have avoided any substantial financial loss. What a coincidence. Conveniently, the DOJ and FBI offices that would advise the Attorney General or even investigate her have been systematically dismantled under her administration, leaving her unaccountable. This committee has the authority and the responsibility to investigate. The Justice Department is also involved in other activities that bear notice today. During his controversial and disgraceful tenure as interim U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia, Ed Martin fired numerous career prosecutors simply because they were assigned to work on January 6 cases. Mr. Martin was rewarded with a plum position at the Justice Department as the very first political appointee to serve as pardon attorney. During his short time in this role, Martin has overseen pardons of numerous Trump donors and supporters. Let me give you one example. Last month, President Trump pardoned nursing home executive Paul Walczak for tax fraud, 3 weeks after Walczak's mother paid $1 million to attend a Trump fundraiser. Coincidence? In the aftermath of these scandalous pardons, Martin tweeted, quote, "No MAGA left behind," close quote. As Paul Rosenzweig, a former official in the George Bush administration, said, "The law is only for Trump's enemies now." In light of these concerns, we have a responsibility to call Attorney General Bondi under oath soon. So I ask again, I hope we have that oversight hearing soon in the future. Do you want me to address Mr. Waterman at this point?
Yeah, please.
All right. I'm going to support Mr. Waterman's nomination to be the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of Iowa. Before we vote, I want to note that he should be ready to be U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of Iowa. He was nominated by President Biden last February. This committee reported his nomination last April. At that point, Mr. Waterman became a victim of Senator Vance's effort to, quote, "grind the Justice Department to a halt." I went to the floor 8 times seeking unanimous consent to confirm him as U.S. Attorney, and I was blocked by Senator Vance 7 of those times and by Republican colleagues the 8th time. That included Senator Vance's own U.S. Attorney nominee to the Northern District of Ohio, who I was prepared to support, but he was stopped by this Vance strategy. Senator Vance argued it was no problem to vote on these nominees, stating, quote, "Sticking our thumbs in the air or down on the ground is not much to ask for people who ask for this job. Expecting us to vote on cloture and vote these nominees on the record is not too much to ask." I have said time and time again, that Vance standard stopped dozens of qualified U.S. attorneys under the Biden administration. Now we're asked to look the other way and to ignore what happened. We cannot have one set of rules for Republicans and another for Democrats in this committee. So I hope, Mr. Chairman, that you and I in good faith can work forward to resolve this.
And of course, I hope we can too, and we've committed to you and I sitting down and trying to do that. We'll now turn to the nomination of David Waterman to be United States Attorney for the Southern District of Iowa. We've agreed, unless I hear objection, to report this nomination by voice vote. So accordingly, I ask on favorably reporting those for all in favor to say aye. 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 Those opposed say no. The ayes have it, and the nomination will be favorably reported and will stand adjourned.